Kyle Mack here at MedPsych Health, and today I'm sitting here with Dr. Hanna, and we are talking about a concept that is pretty important, especially right now in our society, following up with some of the coronavirus hype, but it's this idea that our lifestyles own us. And I'll say that again, our lifestyles own us. So before we get into it, what does lifestyle mean? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. Lifestyle basically is what we do every single day. Our habits, our routines, how we spend our time, what we spend our time on. So for example, a lifestyle would be, an example of your lifestyle, for example, is how much you use your smartphone. Part of your lifestyle is how often you eat out, what kind of restaurants you go to, what kind of places you go on vacation, even the car you drive, where you drive it, or if you take public transportation. That's part of your lifestyle. Where your kids go to school, what you read, what you consume. It's all part of our lifestyle.
Right. So we have these lifestyle patterns, behaviors, and actions that we take. Now, we have free will. We are beings that we pick and choose and do what we please, right or wrong, but we do these things. However, when we talk about what's going on in our culture and our society today, it seems like there's such a pressure, such a push for keeping things the same, trying to maintain consistency in ever-changing times, which sounds like a good thing. I'm not saying it's all bad, by no means, but what are we talking about? Where does it get to be unhealthy?
It gets to be unhealthy when we are forced to do things differently and we feel like we can't. Where an outside force or something externally is challenging the way we do life, and we find ourselves panicked, we find ourselves anxious, we find ourselves stressed and going, I can't, I don't want to, I don't know if I can handle this. And I want to be honest. This applies to me as well. To Kyle, we're not sitting here pretending that we have all this figured out and we love change and we, don't like this either. But I'm finding that as we go together through this whole coronavirus thing, that it's showing me where in my life, what do I hold on to? What am I desperate for to stay the same? What areas of my life that I'm like, I don't want to change that. I like my life this way. I want to go out to eat as a family. I want to be able to order in. This is what I want to do. This is what the Hannas do, right? It's just part of our lifestyle, and it's being challenged. I don't like it.
Yeah. No, I don't much like it either. I joke with everybody who knows me knows that I am like a Google Calendar fiend. I have everything mapped out. But when you come to this crisis or to a moment where things shift for whatever reason, you have to be able to be flexible. You have to be able to try something new and different, even if it's tougher, even if it's more difficult, even if it's inconvenient. And that's tough because when you talk about habit formation and you talk about a lot of these things, they are driven towards a particular purpose: efficiency, convenience, ease. And
efficiency, convenience, and ease. That's a holy trinity for a whole lot of us.
Right. I mean, this is what is like that core operating system of why we do certain things. Why do I even put things in a calendar? So I don't waste time looking through my notes, flipping through, an old school planner, like a hard copy, those things that once existed or still exist, to figure out, what am I doing today? What do I have coming up?
The entire e-commerce world is based on those things, right?
Sure.
Since Amazon has become one of the largest companies in history of the world, purely based on those things, and
right.
And it's so hard for us to think of doing life differently without those things.
So what you said before, the therapist in me just like hones in on is this idea of that I can't, right? When we say can't. That is ability. We're referencing our ability to do so. I can't is saying I am not able to do something. Well, right there we gotta nix that. Of course we are able. Of
course we're able to.
But then it becomes a matter of choosing. So I'm able, but I won't. Now that's different than can't. I won't. So So when we talk about lifestyles owning us, it's usually because we are forced or pushed towards making a decision that we really don't want to make. We don't want to adapt. We don't want to change. We don't want to have our kids stay home from school. We don't want to work from home. We don't want to have to do telehealth or telepsych from our practice. But the simple reality is that we do,
Yeah.
right? It's not ability, it's choice. It's a decision that we make.
But I think there's also another aspect to this. It's we feel like we can't, but we also don't want or don't like the level of distress associated with doing it. So a lot of times we worship comfort. We worship our comfort zones and we reside within them every single day, all of us. And so then when we have to go outside that zone and do life in a way that's different outside of our typical lifestyle that we have become used to, we don't like how it feels.
Right.
We don't like the feeling of not being in control. We don't like the feeling of things not being the way we are used to, because we've become so comfortable and so used to doing life in one way that when we're asked to shift, it scares us, it terrifies us, and that breeds the anxiety. That's part of the anxiety is, how the heck am I going to do this? I don't like how this feels. I don't feel right. I'm nervous. I'm worried. I don't know what to do with this. I don't like it.
Yeah.
And we don't know where to go with it.
Right. And I think the key point that I would want to make is that we have to learn to be okay with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And
that's really hard.
That's really tough.
Yeah.
And I say that as a therapist. I sit every day with patients that are struggling with stuff. There are
I think we can say it as fellow human beings. It's really hard. None of us like to feel uncomfortable.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. And I sit there, and in some selective self-disclosure, I'm like, yeah, that sounds tough. If I were in a similar situation, I'm sure it would be just as tough. And there's a normalizing that I like to do about how these things impact us, how they affect us, and how, what was once comforting and this idea of our lifestyle owning us and driving us in a particular direction, that's comfortable. We often veer off in a different direction to do things that are uncomfortable but necessary for adapting to whatever's going on in our world today.
Yeah.
So
well said.
Yeah, hope you find that helpful, and stay tuned. Thanks.